Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try and get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda, and today I am going to talk about my experience with my assessment at a vision clinic and what exactly a vision clinic can do for you if you're experiencing PCS, and if I found it helpful or not. I'm trying really hard, I promise. But all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry. Okay, first off, hi. It's been a while. I think it was like beginning of December when I did my last video. As expected, December was kind of a rough month with Christmas coming up and the holidays and worrying about how I would be able to participate and all of that. So December was, it was a little rough, but we're here in the new year and I'm making a video and it feels really good. Nothing is really new except I got a DIY haircut at home, did my own bangs. It turned out so well. I'm very proud of myself. But anyways, that's not why you're here. I, at the beginning of December, went to a vision clinic. It's run by our university that we have here. They have an optometry school, and so they run a vision clinic that specializes in treating people who have experienced brain injuries. And so I was recommended to go to that. Actually, I don't think anybody recommended me except for like family, friends, and I don't know, my mom does a lot of research on her own. And so we found it through that. And then asked my doctor to refer me for the initial assessment. It cost $250, which is really expensive, and it's not covered by insurance or OHIP or anything like that. Pretty much anybody, regardless of what types of benefits they have, you have to pay out of pocket for the initial assessment, which is very expensive. They do offer vision therapy, which I'll kind of talk about later on, and those appointments, they can be covered if you have physiotherapy covered in your benefits. Then that can go under that category of physiotherapy, and so then you don't have to be paying for those, just the initial assessment. So I was told when I made the appointment that the assessment was going to be an hour and a half long, which is already a very long appointment, I think, for anybody, but for somebody with PCS, that's that's a lot. And so they did warn that like most people are pretty tired afterwards, and like be prepared to have like your vision system be very exhausted, and you probably will need to rest for the rest of the day. Like, they warned me about that. I also had to send over a copy of my latest eye exam from my optometrist. Yeah, that's the word. So when I got there for the appointment, they told me right away before we started, whenever you need breaks, just tell us and we will stop and give you time to rest in between the different activities. And they also, because they are so used to treating people with PCS, were aware that an hour and a half appointment is a lot to ask of somebody. And so they said that they're very used to splitting up the assessment into 2 separate appointments, and then each appointment would really only be an hour long on average. So they were already very understanding, very ready to accommodate whatever my needs were, and it made me a lot less anxious, because going in thinking I have an hour and a half appointment and they're already warning me that I'm going to be exhausted, I was pretty nervous, and I'm already an anxious person, so to have them be stating explicitly like they understand and they're going to adjust to whatever my needs are was a very nice start to the appointment. So the appointment itself was run mainly by interns, because the vision clinic that I went to is done through our university. The optometry students are the ones that run the day-to-day things, and so they're all supervised by like a licensed optometrist doctor, and she's the one who then decides what further treatment might be needed and if adjustments to prescriptions should happen. But the actual appointment was done with interns, again starting off with just a lot of understanding and awareness. They asked me to rate how I was feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, with like pain, 1 being almost no pain, 10 being unbearable pain. And so I think I said like a 6, and then they said, okay, what number are you wanting to like end this appointment at? So again, just like being very aware and also giving me an out, which is very helpful, because even if people say, oh, whenever you need it, just tell me and we'll stop, a lot of times it's really hard to actually interrupt, an activity or a conversation or an appointment, be like, hey, yeah, I'm done now, right? Like, it's very hard to do that. So for people to like give the opportunities, initiate those conversations rather than leave it all up to the person with PCS, very, very nice. Very, very lovely. I appreciate that. Once we actually got into the appointment, we started off with a really standard review of my file and my health history. They wanted to know the different medications I was on, things like that, naturally. And then we went into the exercises. So it was basically like a more intense version of an eye doctor's appointment. That's how I explain it to people, where you have, different lenses put over your eyes, and then you have to focus on things far away and close up, but like times 10. So they were, yes, looking at how my eyes worked near and far sight, with the near and far sightedness. Okay. And then they also were looking at how my eyes worked together. I had to like put on 3D glasses and then look at things far away, and like there would be a red line that like should be popping out, and then I had to like align it with like different things. And it was a lot of work. Like, my eyes were feeling strained very quickly. They put like different prisms over my eyes. I think I don't really know what all of the tests were doing, but I think for that one it was like kind of faking things being near or far away. So then my eyes would have to like focus, and they would say, okay, tell me when this object goes into like double, your vision goes double. The prisms, it was also seeing how my eyes would like adjust to like the new perspective, and seeing, because your eyes, when you're looking far away and then looking close, your eyes have to do that adjustment, right? So seeing how well my eyes were doing that. So they brought out different tints that can help with light sensitivity, that would then, if they were helpful, be added onto my daily glasses, to the lenses. And so you can get tints in different colors, and different strengths, and for each person different tints can work better or worse. And so I think, like, I remember there was green, there was purple, like, I don't know if there was like a gray tint. The pink one, which I think is the most commonly used one, that was the one that was the best for me, and we also tried like different strengths of that tint to see which one worked well. And at that point, it was about an hour and a half in to the assessment, and I think I was like halfway done, and my mom kind of like checked in with me because she could see me fading. Thank you, Mom, that was good. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. They were like, okay, no worries at all. And so the plan was for me to come back and finish my assessment in a second appointment. So before I went home during that first appointment, the doctor who supervises all of the interns came in and explained some of the tests and the tint to me and my mom, and answered any questions that we had. And I appreciated the fact that she was talking directly to me since I was the patient, but at that point my brain literally was not working, and so I told her, I was like, hey, you can just talk to my mom now. Overall, it was a very good experience with the first appointment. So it took me, I think, just the rest of that day after the first appointment. By the next day, maybe I was a little tired, but I wasn't like knocked out and completely unable to function after that appointment. A lot of thanks goes to the clinic themselves for like being very understanding and accommodating, as well as my mom for being a very good and appropriate advocate throughout that appointment. So I went back the next week to finish up my assessment, and it was more exercises, more 3D glasses, and the close-up like exercises. It was like you had to try and get these lines to like line up with each other, but I just couldn't focus and get my eyes to like focus on the lines, so they would like appear and then disappear, and then they would be somewhere, and then they would be lined up, and then they wouldn't be. Like, it was so brutal. I remember that was probably one of the worst activities out of any of them. Like, I felt super nauseous, and my headache got way worse right after that, which is unfortunate because it was one of the first activities we did that day. And again, they were still super patient and very encouraging with like, take breaks, it's okay, take breaks, but I knew like, this is the second appointment, I can't, like, we have to get through everything because I'm not coming back for a third appointment for an assessment. And because it's run by the university and we were doing it in December at the end of a semester, this was really the last chance to get in that year before the new semester started. And so there wasn't really even that option to like come in a third appointment. More exercises, seeing how like I was able to track objects getting closer to my face. I had to like hold my arms out straight. The sleeves look like they're too small for me, but I promise it's just the way they're twisted. I would have to like keep my eyes on the thumb and keep my head still, and then move my head back and forth, but keep my eyes on my thumbs. And some of those were really tough as well. The last activity was seeing how well I could transition my vision from far sight to near sight. And so the way that they did that was there was like a grid. It kind of looked like a bingo card, and then each square was a word. And so I would have to look at the word in the first square and then say when my eyes focused on it. And then she would put a prism in front of my eye, and I would have to go to the next word and then tell her when I was focused on it, and then she would take the prism away and I would have to focus again, and do that over and over and over again. At the end of this appointment, we got through all of the activities. I really had to push myself. It was so tough. I don't understand how anybody with PCS can do all of that in one appointment. I have no idea. I could barely do it in two. But the doctor came in. They suggested a slight adjustment in my glasses prescription and also adding the tint to the lens. And so they, printed out that prescription, and then I just had to bring it to my eye doctor, and they ordered it. Super easy. They suggested reviewing my medications just because a lot of those meds, and a lot of medications in general, can have side effects that are the same as symptoms of PCS, and so you don't want to be sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm still debilitated by PCS, but it's actually just the medications that you're on. And then, of course, she said that I should be coming in for vision therapy in January. She specified a couple of different places that I needed to improve with my vision. The first being gaze tracking when I'm reading, following lines on a page. I'm not good at that apparently, which makes sense then why reading still gives me symptoms. And then strengthen the adjustment from near to far sight, because I really struggled with that. Your eye should adjust to that immediately. Like, it should be so quick and automatic. But for me, when I was doing that last activity with reading the words on the grid, I would have to sit there and it would take me 30 seconds to adjust my focus, and I would have to be thinking and focusing so hard, and you're not supposed to have to do that. So yes, I need work, which I kind of already knew. So overall, my experience with the vision clinic was so good, and that was such a relief considering some of my last few appointments. They have not felt helpful, they have not felt supportive, and left me quite discouraged. And so to have a clinic that obviously understands what post-concussion syndrome looks like and how it impacts the patient, and being very accommodating and encouraging for the patient to be taking care of themselves, but also treating the patient with respect. It gave me some direction, something concrete of, okay, here's something that I can do that can help me, possibly, probably, maybe. That's more than what I've gotten for a long time. So yeah, there was just a lot of positives to take away from that. So if I were to be asked, would I recommend this as a treatment for somebody with PCS, I would say 100% yes. And I would say be very active in trying to be referred to a vision clinic. The eye doctor at the clinic, she said that research has found that vision therapy is most effective in the first 2 years after an injury, and I'm getting close to that to that marker. And so, not to say that if it's already been more than 2 years, then don't even bother. No, not at all. There's still always improvements that can be made. And to end off the video, as always, song recommendation. So today, The song that I am recommending is called You're Going to Be Okay by Jen Johnson. And it's not a song that I necessarily go out of my way to listen to on a daily basis. I don't want to say it's cheesy, but the lyrics are like very straightforward. It's all things that you've heard before, but the truth doesn't always have to be this like intensely poetic thing. It can be things that sound really obvious but are really easy to forget. This is kind of a new feeling for me to be encouraged and feel like, oh, maybe there actually is something that will be helping me get to the point where I'm okay, maybe. And there's a big difference to how I was feeling in the beginning of December, where I felt very stuck, very lost, feeling like I had no options. And while those feelings aren't totally, completely gone, there's also moments of hope where like I almost believe that I'm gonna be okay. Just like the song says, and sometimes you just need that reminder that there are people who have faith that you're gonna be okay, even if you don't. And even though sometimes you kind of roll your eyes at their hope, it's still important to hear it and be open to it, because one day you're gonna have that hope too. Yeah. So anyways, listen to the song, have an open mind, and I will see you next time.
Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just take one step closer. Put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness.
Tints, that's the right word, right? I don't know. Like, yeah, different tints.
Baby.
Oh, jeez. Okay. There's not enough room in. Okay, what was I doing? That my focus is so bad today. Okay.